There's a lot of talk all of a sudden about Apple buying ESPN. A lot of discussion, a lot of talk about Apple buying Disney. And in particular, there's been more of a focus of late about Apple buying ESPN. Because Apple has hundreds of millions of dollars in cash. In theory, they have the ability to add a lot of assets. As I mentioned, Apple now has the MLS. Apple made a fairly substantial bid for the Pac 12, which was not enough to keep that conference from collapsing, but that's what they put out there to try to do. Apple may be making a run at NASCAR, for instance, going after these other different niche sports in an effort to try to bolster its overall streaming assets. Here's the deal. Apple buying ESPN makes 0 sense. And let me just break it down for you pretty succinctly. What is Apple buying if they buy ESPN? What do they actually get? Okay, well, they get the ESPN television network, which is rapidly declining and is on pace in the near future, I think in the next 5 years, to actually turn negative in terms of the money that it produces for ESPN and Disney. So let me explain exactly, because I wrote a whole book about this, and I'd encourage you to read Republicans Buy Sneakers too. But the cable and satellite bundle is gone from 100 million subscribers to now it's down to like 70 million. And the number of you that are cutting your cable and satellite bundle is accelerating. And so ESPN has paid a ton of money for Monday Night Football, let's say, for the NBA, for Major League Baseball, for some hockey, I think. I can't even keep up with the rights that ESPN has right now. But all they do is rent. ESPN owns almost nothing. All they do is rent. They are a middleman, right? Think about what ESPN's business is. It is, hey, NFL, we'll give you $2.5 billion in order to rent your product, Monday Night Football, and put it on our network, and then we will sell it, and we will make money on it. They don't actually produce anything. The only thing ESPN produces is their daily shows and maybe some 30 for 30s occasionally. There's almost no value in terms of what ESPN produces. So what are you buying? You're buying a collapsing channel on cable and satellite, and you're buying rental. ESPN is Blockbuster. ESPN is the repository for rented content. They don't actually produce original content. So if you are Apple, why don't you just wait and blow ESPN's bidding out of the water and buy the rights to the leagues yourself? This is the part that I don't understand. Why would you pay billions of dollars for ESPN? The only thing that you are buying is the rights that they have rented. Now, you may say, oh, well, we absolutely have to have Monday Night Football right now. Okay, I guess if you had to have it right now, why not wait 8 years and pay way more than ESPN can afford to pay because their business is collapsing, and you just buy those rights yourself? And the good example is the NBA. The NBA is coming to market now, I think in the next year or so. If you really like the idea of sports rights, why would you not just buy the NBA away from ESPN? Like, why would you allow ESPN to buy rights when you have way more money than they do to buy the rights? You're buying an empty vessel, it seems to me, if you buy ESPN. They have a streaming service, yes, but you have your own streaming service that you've already built. There is no logical basis under which it makes sense for Apple to buy ESPN. You're basically buying Blockbuster Video. ESPN is not going to be able to afford sports rights for all of the leagues that it's partners with in a decade. Their business model is collapsing. So why not just buy up all of the sports rights that ESPN can no longer afford? I understand why ESPN would want to sell to Apple. I understand why Bob Iger would be ecstatic to basically pass that collapsing business cost on to Apple. What I don't understand is why anybody at Apple would ever want to buy ESPN. And the only reason to do it is if you are desperate, absolutely desperate to have those rights immediately, as opposed to waiting a few years for when ESPN can't afford them anymore. And the other thing about that is, like, okay, let's say you're looking around and you say, hey, you know what? I really like some of the talent that's on ESPN. Let's say you like Pat McAfee or you like Stephen A. Smith. Just sign them. Their deals are going to be up eventually with ESPN. Just sign them yourself and put them on your own streaming service. I am stunned by how few people understand it. So maybe explaining it, ESPN is Blockbuster Video, right? If you're old enough, you remember it used to be a big deal. You would go to Blockbuster Video and you would go into Blockbuster, and what would you do? Rent the entertainment that other people make, and you would take it home and you would watch it. The entire business model of Blockbuster was they took the entertainment that other people created and they gave it to you. They were the middleman. What happened? Streaming occurs, and suddenly you can watch any movie under the sun directly from your home, and you don't have to go out to get the Blockbuster VHS or DVD. Blockbuster was disrupted out of existence. It was a huge business, wildly profitable. If you are my age or older, you probably remember how exciting it was to go to Blockbuster and find a movie that you were going to take home and watch. And one of the most frustrating things, by the way, back in the day, they'd run out of all the best movies. And you'd like go to where the returns were to see whether the most recent movie that everybody wanted to watch was available. But it was a super cool job and business, right? So that's ESPN. It would have been crazy to buy Blockbuster right as the streaming era began. It's equally crazy to buy ESPN now right as the cable and satellite bundle collapses. It's just an empty vessel. There is no production value. ESPN doesn't produce original content. They just rent all of the sports league's content and put it on air for you. They are the sports version of Blockbuster Video. Why would you buy them? I don't understand it at all. Maybe you want, I guess, the tangible asset ESPN has is they have their campus in Bristol. But otherwise, all their rights fees vanish in the years ahead. And if you're Apple or you're Amazon or you are any of these big Netflix streaming companies, you're way bigger and your business is way better. You can get them. Now, I also don't think ESPN makes sense for Disney because Disney is in the business of creating original content that they own forever. That's not ESPN's business. Disney makes, I don't know, this new Snow White movie, which I think is going to be a total failure. But even if that new Snow White movie is a total failure, they own it forever. They own Star Wars. They own the Marvel movies. The 1937 version of Snow White they own as well. It makes zero sense, in my opinion, for Apple, Amazon, or any other streaming company to buy ESPN. Now, buying Disney makes more sense. I can see an argument for why Apple would want, or Amazon, would want to own the Star Wars movies, the Marvel movies, whatever else, the theme parks. Those are tangible, hard, original assets that are owned forever. But ESPN? ESPN's just Blockbuster Video. It is going to collapse, and already is, because the money that they have to buy rights with is collapsing. And if they don't have the best games to rent, people will go everywhere else to watch those games.